I am a sucker for a Cameroon wrapper. Always have been. I assume I always will be. They'll say it's toothy. And when you're like, what does that mean, Tony? Well, we'll get to it. It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz, and that right there is America's favorite amateur drinker, Fingers Malloy from La Flor Dominicana. This is the LFD Cameroon Cabinet, the limited edition. It is a beautiful Lancero, 7.5 by 38, which means it's 7.5 inches long. Always makes Fingers Malloy laugh. And the ring gauge is a 38, the diameter of the cigar, or how thick it is around. Again, with the laughter. I actually got some tobacco in my teeth.
Oh,
I don't know.
Need some floss?
No, yeah, if you got like a placker or one of those things. It happens, guys. Go with it. Love a Lancero. And the reason is because of ratio. So this cigar is seen, this shape, this Vitola is seen as dainty, right? That 38 ring gauge, very, very small, and not necessarily comfortable for larger hands. People avoid it. The problem is they're missing out on a ratio. Flavor comes from wrapper, right? So here you have a tremendous amount of wrapper compared to the amount of binder and filler. So you get this ratio that gives you more wrapper, that gives you more flavor. You're missing out on a very interesting presentation that comes from blenders when they put together the Lancero shape. Now, there are some people who despise doing Lanceros. They don't understand the value. They're not interested in it. I can appreciate those people. That fine. More for me and for Fingers Malloy. Now, LFD, known for making big cigars, Fingers.
Yeah, and you and I have both discussed in the past our love for a Cameroon wrapper, and we just lit this. We're just in the first third of the first third, and right away for me, I'm getting some wood notes, and there's also a little bit of pepper, not a whole heck of a lot, and a faint bit of sweetness. But the draw is really nice. It was a little tight at first. But it's opening up nicely. So far, very happy.
I am curious to know what you ate today that you're not really getting a big pepper hit off the first. I think there's a very solid spice that's happening on both sides of the tongue here. I think the wood is clearly prominent in this, and actually this is a great example, I think, of really feeling a more cedar kind of flavor come through, like the smell of the box of a cigar, a smell of a humidor before you put the cigars in. That's, picture that now on your tongue, and that's where it is. But a nice melding, and also a real fullness in the cheek. There's a lot of smoke going on from a 38 ring gauge. This is from the Flor Dominicana, the Cameroon cabinet. I was so happy to see these, and I said, yes, please, I will take two.
Now, doing some research on this stick, this has been around for some time.
Oh yeah, you can go back to 2011. You can go back, I think, earlier than that. I'm not sure of the release date, but this is a cigar that's been around. So one of the things I would tell you is you might not find it at your local tobacconist. You might not find it in some of your online places. It's not the everyday. Now, I have found places where it's absolutely for sale by the box. I was able to find it, so we're not leaving you high and dry. The question, Fingers Malloy, is this in your humidor coming in at, give or take, $12.50 a stick?
I mean, listen, we just lit this. We're just in the first third, but probably yes.
I'm a absolutely yes. You got to decide this for yourself. And the way we suggest doing that is get out your notebook. Any notebook will do. Just make it your cigar notebook. It can be fancy, it can be spiral bound, whatever you want to do. And then, what did you eat today? What did you drink today? What's the weather? Finally, warm weather in Indianapolis, Indiana, right before St. Patrick's Day. Temperatures in the 60s, temperatures that were able to hit the 70s. That absolutely will affect your palate. It'll affect saliva, and it will affect how you feel about the cigar. What'd you eat? What'd you drink? The same things. And then take the cigar and break it into thirds, right? First third, second third, final third. Or first third, second third, final third, depending how you count these things. And then write down what you experienced. Write down the flavors you got, no matter how weird, no matter how odd, no matter how simple. Write them down. When you try that cigar a month from now, 6 months from now, whatever it is, you do it again. You compare your notes, find your through lines. What was it that you got each time? That's what you thought about the cigar. And then you can say, well, Cameroons give me this kind of flavor. Maybe a different Cameroon gives you something different. And you could start comparing and contrasting in that way. La Flor Dominicana right here with the Cameroon cabinet, the Lancero, 7.5 by 38. I'll tell you what, dainty, you could say that. Built perfectly. It actually, for a 7.5 by 38, has a touch of heft.
Yep, I would agree with that. Often when we talk about what did you eat today, what did you drink, that day, a lot of times you'll focus on what I had, because I eat like a hobo. I'm not getting a lot of spice, not a lot of pepper on the stick right now, and I think maybe it's because I've had about a gallon of coffee today. You got pepper. So what did you have today?
I had before the show, admittedly, some pan fried chicken sausage. With
Chicken sausage?
Yeah, we had it, and it's actually rather tasty. And with some onions and rice. So that's what I had, and it's not the only thing I had today, but it's what I had before the show.
Did you have chicken rice too?
Did I have what?
Did you have chicken rice too?
I put
Chicken,
rice in with
chicken
the
peppers,
sausage.
chicken sausage, eh?
Why are you being like that?
Oh,
I'm sorry. You want to tell my Jewish family that they should be having pork sausage? Go ahead. You want to call my rabbi next?
sure.
What
I have
next?
no problem telling them.
Benjamin Netanyahu?
Listen, BB, for once, have the pork sausage. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, good Lord. That is the LFD Cameroon cabinet. It is just a really nice piece. This is a cigar that I like tremendously, and $12.50, absolutely. Would I buy this by the box? Unquestionably. Am I smoking this every day? No, because I don't really do a Lancero every day. This could be a weekly. So that box is going to last me, right? A box of 25 is going to last me for, carry the two. It's going to last me for 100 years. It's going to last me for 6 months. That's fine. I think it's not a bad idea if you have cigars that you put into rotation, maybe for specific days, specific times, specific wants, specific desires. I like it. I've certainly always liked Lancero, always liked this Cameroon and what it has to offer from LFD. I am a fan. This is Eat, Drink, Smoke. Eat, Drink, Smoke. It is your cigar bourbon foodie extravaganza. I'm Tony Katz. That is Fingers Malloy. Find everything at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Smoking from the Flor Dominicana. This is the Cameroon cabinet. We're doing the Lancero here. The 7.5 by 38, 7.5 inches long, 38 ring gauge. It's an absolutely wonderful stick. It's an absolutely wonderful stick, Fingers Malloy. I highly recommend.
Do you? Would you say that there's a possibility? I mean, we're only in March, Tony. But is there a possibility that this could be on your list of top cigars of the year?
So here's the issue. Here's the fundamental issue there. This cigar has been around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Is it right to put it on a list, or does it need to be something that's a little newer?
No, I absolutely can.
Then
be on the
maybe,
list.
maybe is the answer I will give. This could be my cigar. For a Cameroon wrapper, always have been, will continue to be. And I just think it smokes beautifully.
I would agree with you. It has amazing heft for it only being a Lancero. You would expect it to be a little bit lighter in the hand. It's not. It's got a decent amount of heft to it.
It does.
A great draw, lots of nice, pleasant smoke. And I think it has to do with the fact that I've had like 6 gallons of coffee today.
6 whole gallons?
Yeah, and I think it's having an impact on my palate because I'm not getting any of the spice that you're talking about. I got a little bit of spice. For me, it's more wood than anything else. And I think you hit it on the nail on the head with specifically cedar.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting right now. But it's the stick has been very low maintenance, which is always a positive, and the burn's been nice and even.
So. Yeah, but you're still in the first third of that stick, and so am I. I think when we get into the second third of the cigar, we should see some sweetness move, right? Some sweetness growth that comes out of this. Again, you're talking about ratio, more wrapper to binder and filler because it's a Lancero, that 38 ring gauge. And I'm telling you, it's underappreciated stuff. I don't think at this stage of the game there's anybody who doesn't know that Fingers Malloy is a lovely man, but very antisocial.
Me?
Fingers Malloy does not like neighbors. Fingers Malloy does not like most people. Fingers Malloy mostly wants to be left alone and then told where the snacks are.
Actually, I always know where the snacks are.
It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz, and that right there is the Snackmeister General, Fingers Malloy. Find everything at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Snackmeister General.
Am I going to disagree with you?
No.
I just found some corn nuts in the corner.
We're gonna get you like a Generalissimo jacket and a cap.
Ooh,
I let you lead a small Snackmeister army.
I like a good cap.
So there's a story that I thought was about Fingers Malloy. It was at People magazine. Man calls out millennial neighbors for being super antisocial and goes viral for it. Now I must put this out there. I must give this warning, this trigger warning. I believe that most of the things posted online are false. They're lies. They're scams. They're ways to get clicks. They're not real.
No. You're completely wrong on this, because this is what happens. See, this was originally on Reddit.
Uh-huh.
But you know how there's things called, like someone may have a dry cleaner business, and then you find out later it was actually a money laundering scheme.
Mm-hmm.
There are websites out there that will launder Reddit posts and make them newsworthy. And that's what happened here at People magazine, where you found the story.
You found the story. Do you want to share the story?
So this man is very upset. He's claiming that these younger kids today, they're very antisocial. You know what they like to do, Tony?
What do they like to do, Fingers?
These neighbors like to drive to their home and then drive their cars right into the garage and close the door and not speak to anyone.
I did not know you were a millennial. I, for one, am shocked.
Now, some, like this gentleman, will call those people super antisocial. I call them lovely neighbors.
Right. Look, I will tell you that it is weird, and it took me a while to get used to, for example, here in Indiana, where people will wave hi, but they don't shake your hand high. Like, there have been people I've still not been invited into their home. I think that's very awkward. Oddly enough, when I lived in California, it wasn't that way in the slightest. And you're like, California and Indiana, how? It has to do with how people view the idea of friendliness and view the idea of appropriateness. In California, more people being transient, moving in, moving out, there's more of a need, a want, a desire to make friends and engage. And certainly at the time, our kids were much, much younger. They had friends who were much, much younger. People being in and out of people's homes was normal. If I was working, I came home and there were 5 families in our backyard and kids playing. I didn't think anything of it. I thought it normal, mostly because we were the only people who actually had a yard in California. Like nobody had a yard. When I came to Indiana, it's not that everybody wasn't lovely, and they are lovely, and they were very accepting of me and the radio that I do here and everything else, but they would not have thought of saying, come over, have a drink, because that's just not what they did. And the other part of it is they already had their group of people. They went to maybe high school here. They went to college here. They have that group of friends. They settled here, and they weren't looking to expand the group, so they weren't unfriendly. They were just not overly friendly.
Can I give you a little bit of the perspective of a Hoosier from someone who's been here a little bit longer than you, but also
you are a born Midwesterner. I
Yes.
was born East Coast, Brooklyn, grew up in Jersey.
I feel like for a Hoosier, and maybe the folks in the Midwest, they have this attitude that they were born in a small town. And they live in a small town, but probably die in a small town. Those small communities. I think that's the mindset. So when they see some California guy waltzing in here with his
God, how did I not see that coming?
with his perfect hair and walking around trying to be friendly, they're like, you know what?
First of all, thank you for the hair reference. Secondly, I've been melon-camped. I don't know if it's called being melon-camped or cougared. I swear to you, if you hit me with a little ditty, there is going to be a war. But it is true. It's not that they were unfriendly. It took a while to understand. It's that it would not have come to them. It's not who they are. And I will admit to you that I still find it off-putting.
I had a discussion with a neighbor who was moving away.
And that's why you talked to him?
Yes.
Hey, heard you're leaving.
Well, it was because
maybe I'll get to know you now.
Well, he knocked on my door to say goodbye, and I said, "What's your name again?" And he said to me, he originally was from the Middle East, and he said, "I just can't get over how I have not had very many conversations with neighbors. I don't understand it." And I said, "Well, listen, the guy next to me has been my neighbor for 24 years. I've waved to him twice because I never see him. He has someone come every week to mow his weeds, and he just drives into his garage, and that's the end of it. Now, other than the fact that, he's having people come mow his weeds, I find that neighbor delightful, just absolutely wonderful. So I don't have a problem with this. So I guess I'm antisocial too. But one of the complaints that this guy said was his neighbor, besides, just driving into the garage and shutting the door, they never come out other than leaving the house to go somewhere or maybe mowing their lawn.
What is what do you want the neighbor to do? Listen, I've been in neighborhoods where the neighbors were all very, very friendly, and we tried to be a part of that. It didn't really work. I've been in neighborhoods where the neighbors were friendly, and we tried to be a part of it, and it worked brilliantly, right? It really depends on the group of people. But I think the question is, what do you want the neighbor to do? What were you expecting or hoping that neighbor would be?
I hope that my neighbor takes care of their home.
Right.
Takes care of their yard.
Right.
And leaves me alone.
Right. That's what you hope for.
Yeah, I don't need a neighbor coming to borrow any sugar, and I'm not gonna borrow any sugar from them.
Oh, I think that's adorable. Our neighbor has done that.
Really?
Our neighbor's like, seriously, I need to borrow a cup of sugar. I'm like, sure. Well, here you go.
Now I understand that mentality if the sugar store is a half hour away. But for me and many other suburbanites, the sugar store is 2 minutes away. I think I'm going to get in my car and drive because you know what? I don't want that hanging over my head that I owe Tony a bag of sugar or a cup of sugar or a sugar cube.
You know what? I'm starting to think you have more problems than I do. For years, I was like, we're pretty even on the level of, man, we are both screwed up folk. No, I think you win. I'm friendlier than you.
Yes.
How?
Oh, listen, ladies and gentlemen. Let me paint an audio picture for you. When Tony and I are out and about, he's a man of the people. He walks up, hey, how's it going? Hey, sports fan. Hi, how you doing? Hey, nice to see you.
Sports fan.
Yes, all the time. Says sports fan. Calls everybody sports fan. Or sporto. One of those two things. And I'm sitting back and I'm thinking to myself, can't we just go get the bag of corn nuts without talking to anybody? Do we have to? Oh, hey, how you doing? Hey, how's it going? Hey,
I think maybe I'm doing that because I never have to consume my mind with must have corn nuts.
Have you had corn nuts lately?
Oh, no. I still can't get the taste of the Buc-ee's crap you gave me.
Oh,
Buc-ee's. The beaver nuggets. Oh, they were Buc-ee's. You're lovely. Beaver nuggets are garbage.
Again, I can sit
Buc-ee's
here
for the brisket. Take the brisket, leave the beaver nuggets. That is the Godfather way to deal with Buc-ee's.
Insult me all you want to, but when you start insulting the fine folks of Texas like you are right now,
I reject your I reject the premise. I already lauded and glorified the brisket. Don't try and get me in trouble with Texas. Yeah, honestly, we'll go down there. I'll show you how much Texans love me.
Oh, good Lord. You're going to start talking to them, aren't you?
No, see, that's just it. You're all about defending Texas, but you don't want to talk to those people, do you?
I want to be a silent defender of the folks at Texas, meaning I'll defend them and they stay silent.
This is Eat, Drink, Smoke. Find everything at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. I do love a good rye. I can't explain why rye often more appeals to me than bourbon, but it does. And honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's Eat, Drink, Smoke. I'm Tony Katz, and that right there is America's favorite amateur drinker, Fingers Malloy. And this right here is the Seven Sun Straight Rye Whiskey from the people over there at, what is it, Ross and Squibb Distillery? Well, it's MGP. Just so we're all perfectly clear, this is a straight rye whiskey. No age statement, but you got to believe at least 4 years. Coming in at 90 proof. No applause from Fingers Malloy. He only applauds for things that are 100 proof or more.
You said there's no age statement on this.
There is no age statement on this.
4 years.
You got that from a sniff, did you?
4 years.
Look at you. Very, very impressive. MGP does a lot of manufacturing in a lot of different ways. And this is just one of just a lot of the things that they do, but wanted to, and I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to give you the price just yet, was looking for things that did not break the bank. I thought the presentation was beautiful. And the color here is as classic a bourbon rye coloring as you can do. It maybe not as deep and as rich and you know in color, but it's a very nice amber. It looks like you'd want a bourbon or a rye to look. That's a very, very, it's actually sweeter than I thought it would be. That is definitely sweeter than I thought it would be.
I don't know if it's the coffee monkeying with me. I'm just going to keep blaming the coffee, even though it's probably not the coffee. I can't smell anything. I mean, I have to get my nose way in there.
Well, first, we are doing this rocks glass and not Glencairn. I had rocks glasses. That's what I used.
I'm getting a little bit of baking spice.
I actually think that's right on. There's a little bit of spice there, and there's a little bit of warmth underneath. No, it is not an overwhelming. It's not overpowerful. It is 90 proof, 95% rye, 5% malted barley in the mash bill. It's nice. It's a nice, okay, you're like, okay, that's what it should smell like. That's it. Actually, maybe for a rye, it's not as spice punch as one would assume.
There's no punch of anything. I mean, there's nothing here that overwhelms the nose. No, absolutely no ethanol. And that's a good thing. And again, you're right. We're doing this in a rocks glass, so that definitely should have some impact. But there are times when we will pour a bourbon or a rye, and you will be able to smell it from the table,
right?
And you poured it, and of course that didn't happen. And now you and I both have our noses in the glass pretty deep, and I'm not getting much of anything other than that, like kind of baking spice, maybe a little rye spice, but no oak. Are you gonna talk me into oak?
Yes, keep going. I do think that it's a little bit there. I think that's what's giving that nose, right? Because you're talking about the baking spice and spice in general, but not a big kick of rye spice. There's a little bit of like meatiness going on. There's a little more richness, and I think that's where the oak doth lie. But enough with the nose. Fingers Malloy, you ready for this?
Oh, Tony, I've been ready for this all week.
From Ross and Squibb Distillery, established in 1847, according to the label. The Seven Suns is what we've got here. And they have it. Here it is. Mashed with 100% Heartland grains. You gotta love that. This is their straight rye whiskey coming in at 90 proof. Fingers Malloy, what say you?
You know who also enjoyed the Heartland, Tony?
George Takei?
Jack and Diane. They were two American kids growing up in the Heartland.
He mellencamped me once again. Is what he did.
So
I've been cougared.
I've been not the way you normally like to be.
Oh, no, not the good cougar. Not the I have to get back to my grandkids way. Oh, no.
So this is interesting. There's a little bit of nuttiness. There's a little bit of rye spice and a little bit of oak. You and I, I probably are going to differ. I guess my palate is all screwed up today because you did say it was there's a decent amount of sweetness on the nose. I didn't really get that.
Right.
And maybe that will translate for you onto the palate as well. There's like a nuttiness. There's oak, more of oak, and that spice is there. Um, and that's about it. It's pleasant. A nice bit of sting on the tongue. No real heat in the chest. It's fine.
I'm going in the Seven Sons straight rye whiskey, 90 proof. Here I go.
He's going in, ladies and gentlemen. He's doing what we like to call the Saginaw Swish, the Memphis Munch, the Chattanooga Chomp. And
that's sweet.
See,
it is that right. A little buttery, a little sting on the front of the tongue. Actually, felt a little bit of heat left chest. Wait, is that a heart attack?
Uh-oh.
Nope, that's just the heat. Do a Chris Farley, just bang on the chest.
Pull a pork chop out of your mouth.
That's pleasant. That I really do feel that a cube is going to wash this all away. I got to admit, that's a super pleasant drink. That is not too overwhelming. Little bit of heat that builds up. Almost you can argue a touch of cinnamon there. Maybe it's a heat. Maybe it's more of that baking spices you described on the nose.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm going back in.
He's going to go back in, ladies and gentlemen, because it's a rye. He's doing the double Saginaw.
Nothing about this plays like a rye at all, by the way. Not a single ounce of this plays like a rye, and that's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, on the nose, it was mostly baking spice. I thought I got a little rye, but I don't know if I was trying to talk myself into it. But yeah, this is definitely not what I would consider a traditional rye by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and I'm not even going to argue that it tries. It's not bad, right? That spice is there, but I don't think I think you would have a hard time distinguishing this from bourbons. The question is the Seven Sun Straight Rye Whiskey. Is this in your liquor cabinet, Fingers Malloy, for $27.99 a bottle?
Sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is a super pleasant drink. Sweet, but not overly sweet. Rich, but not overly rich. Enough spice there to counteract. That's a nice, pleasant, easygoing, bring to the party, not break the bank. That's a very pleasant, not break the bank rye. I'm looking at some of the things we've done recently. Like we did the Redwood Empire the other day. I thought the Redwood Empire had more to it. This is sweet. This is a very pleasant, worthwhile $27.99 all day.
I feel like you can bring that bottle to a party and just offer it to people. Say, try this and let me know what you think. And I think for the most part, you will get a surprise that it's a rye, and then also that's pleasant. That's nice.
Right.
And under $30 a bottle, absolutely.
Seven Sons Straight Rye Whiskey coming in at 90 proof. Yeah, that's in the liquor cabinet for sure. This is Eat, Drink, Smoke. Find everything at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Eat, Drink, Smoke. It is your cigar, bourbon, foodie extravaganza. I'm Tony Katz. That is America's favorite amateur drinker, the Snackmeister General, Fingers Malloy.
Is this going to be a thing now?
Nope, it's not going to stick at all. We are smoking from the Flor Dominicana, the Cameroon cabinet, I should say. We're doing this as the Lancero. This is a 7.5 by 38. We're into the second third of this cigar. $12.50 a stick. Cameroon wrapper, Dominican the binder and filler. I'm an all day yes, all day.
Couldn't agree with you more. I'm the same. I mean, it's just been really enjoyable and low maintenance and everything that you would want in a Cameroon.
You had said that like maybe there was a little more ash coming off this cigar. It's possible. It's certainly it's absolutely possible. I don't know if I have felt that more than other cigars, but sometimes you see things differently, depending.
Could be totally user error on my part. I've been very animated this week. So maybe I've been, throwing the cigar around everywhere in my hand.
I would argue that to the extent that I felt the pepper in the beginning, it is absolutely still there. That cedar, that wood note is absolutely there. It has I think turned a little bit sweeter, which I would have expected. I just think that this is so enjoyable in this there's a little bit of tobacco that you get it in the second third has gotten a little more, instead of the pepper and wood pronounced, a little more of the sweet pulling out, and I'm just thrilled, absolutely thrilled with what it is that I'm smoking. I just think this is one of those, this was a beautifully done cigar. I would buy it by the box, have it in the humidor, and one a week. It's a box of 25, I believe. $12.50 a stick. So one a week for 25 weeks. Right? One every other week. It'll last you the year. It's just a nice smoke.
That's mathematics right there.
I did the math all by myself. Didn't even have to take off my shoes. Drinking the Seven Sons is what we're drinking. This is the straight rye whiskey. $27.99 a bottle. The answer is yes. Sweeter than it is spicier, but not overly sweet. Get yourself a dropper. Every time he's pouring water in from his bottle into his glass to add a little water to the bourbon or the rye, would you, for the love of the Lord?
I stopped by Rent-A-Center on the way here, and they were all out of them. So I'm going to have to figure out another way to afford one. But no, I was actually happy because I actually got one
little drop,
tiny drop in there.
All right, so he's adding a little bit of water. I got to drink the water out of this.
And you can tell he's doing it because that sound was real. It didn't just come out of a box.
Just a couple ice chips for me. Remember, water is going to bring down the proof. This is 90 proof. A water will the only thing that brings down the proof. And it will, some flavors will be more pronounced. Some flavors will become more muted. There was real sweetness here.
Mm-hmm.
Just a touch of spice in that front tongue, right? Tip of the tongue area. Heat for me was a little bit left chest. That's it. But now on the cube, I am concerned that it's going to lose all its love, because I thought it was just a nice, easy rye, not a rye spice rye, but a nice rye at $27.99. It's in the liquor cabinet. Sure, absolutely, you can play with this anytime you want. But I'm going in now. That's the sound of freshness.
That's so true. It means it's working. He's going in, ladies and gentlemen. He is doing the Saginaw Swish.
Oh, it actually brought out some spice. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, it's pretty.
What kind of spice? Did it bring out rye spice? More baking spice? Scary spice? Posh spice?
Rye spice. It brought out the rye. Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, that's a slam dunk. $27.50 a bottle then.
$27.99, please.
Well,
we're gonna need that other 49 cents. Yeah. I still think yeah, there it is. There's the heat in the lower chest. Wow, that really hit me. I still think I'd do it neat.
Mm-hmm.
I still think I'm a guy who would do it neat. But that is if you're asking compared to, did we do it last week? Did we do the Redwood Empire? We did that the week before.
No, we did Wyoming.
We did Wyoming last. Okay. I think I prefer the Redwood more. As a more complex piece, but all day, this goes in the liquor cabinet. This works.
That's exciting.
If you're somebody who likes rye spice, on the cube,
mm-hmm.
I mean, try it both ways, of course. Yeah. What do you know? Go ahead. A little water for Fingers Malloy there. A little water going in for Fingers Horatio Malloy right there. And he's moving that around. By the way, I never even discussed doing the Saginaw Swish. I got so excited. You take the bourbon or you take the rye and you move it around the palate. It's called the Memphis Munch, or actually it's the Chattanooga Chew. No, it's a Kentucky Chew. That's it right there. And what you're doing is trying to get a sense for the flavors, right? So when you take that sip, you're doing the Kentucky Chew, moving it around. Sometimes it's 2 sips. The first one to set the taste buds, second sip to really get an idea of the flavors. But you were moving it around there, doing the Saginaw Swish, as you're from Saginawsome. What say you?
Well, it did change. It brought out, for me, it is sweeter, but I can't put my finger on what that sweetness is. It's not what I'm used to in a rye, and I guess sometimes that clouds my judgment, clouds my review, because it's a rye, and it's
Right.
like, well, no, but that spice, it did bring out some more of the spice, and then on the finish, I'm actually getting a little bit of cinnamon that I didn't get before.
Yeah, I had gotten that when I had it neat. I did
Mhm.
not get that on the cube. You're talking about sweetness. You're talking about sugar. You're talking about bready.
More of a sugary sweetness, like maybe brown sugar, but it's sweet, but it's not. It's hard for me to describe, but it definitely brought out more of the spice for me, and then there's a hint of cinnamon on the finish that I wasn't getting before.
The Seven Sun Straight Rye Whiskey from Ross and Squibb Distillery, MGP, $27.99 a bottle. Yeah, that's a yes. That is it for $27.99. That's in the liquor cabinet. And from La Flor Dominicana, the Cameroon Cabinet Lancero, 7.5 by 38, 150%. This is a cigar you have to be smoking. It has to be in your humidor. Find all this at eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Don't forget to get the podcast wherever it is you get your podcast. This is Eat Drink Smoke.
Follow Eat Drink Smoke on social media, on Twitter at Go Eat Drink Smoke, on Facebook, facebook.com/Eat Drink Smoke, and Instagram at Eat Drink Smoke Podcast. Hey, you made it all the way through to the end of this video. We're proud of you.
You should watch more of our videos. Make sure you subscribe right there to Eat, Drink, Smoke, wherever it is you get your videos, on YouTube, on Rumble, and don't forget Instagram, Eat, Drink, Smoke Podcast, where we've got the shorts and some very cool things going on.